All right, today we are diving headfirst into the seriously high-stakes world of Man in the Moon. It's this awesome sci-fi conspiracy thriller that poses a wild question. What if the biggest secret in human history wasn't actually up in space, but was buried right here under our feet? You know, this one's definitely for all you fans of classic alien invasion stories. It's kind of like a modern throwback to those great old pulp adventures.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. We'll kick things off with a bizarre discovery out in the desert. Then we'll uncover an astronaut's hidden story, expose a full-blown alien invasion plot, and see how our heroes fight for humanity's future. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with our final verdict and a couple of other books you might want to check out.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story starts with a guy named Tom Mitchell. He's a tech engineer for a company called StarTech. Just a totally normal dude, really. He's out in the New Mexico desert, looking for some old artifacts, and, well, let's just say his quiet life is about to get completely blown apart.
So picture this. Tom's out there minding his own business and his day just gets completely shattered. He stumbles on this weird mound of dirt and inside is something impossible, something that has no business being there. And before he can even wrap his head around it, bam! A gunshot cracks through the silence. Suddenly, he's in this super tense standoff that, believe me, changes absolutely everything for him.
And this first conversation, it's not exactly a warm welcome. It just instantly sets the tone for this gritty, dangerous world Tom has just fallen into. You can tell right away he is completely out of his depth. And this woman, Dharma, she's like the toughest nails gatekeeper to a secret he was never, ever supposed to get close to.
So this insane encounter in the desert, it doesn't just stop there. Nope. It actually leads Tom to meet Dharma's grandfather. And this guy, he's been sitting on a secret for decades that is just unbelievable.
This is where the story hits you with a really fascinating what-if question. It goes right to the core of American history. The space race and all that. It basically takes the official story we've all heard and just rips it to shreds, setting the stage for a conspiracy that is truly out of this world.
And this quote right here, this is the bombshell. Dharma's grandfather, Ted Irving, just lays it all out. He reveals that he was an astronaut on Apollo 20, a top-secret mission that was never made public. We're talking about a whole shadow program that went way, way beyond just planting a flag on the moon.
So why all the secrecy? Well, it turns out those secret missions weren't just about, exploring space. They were a desperate reaction to a terrifying truth. We weren't alone. And worse, an alien presence had already been here on Earth for a long, long time.
And this brings us to the bad guys of the story, the classic sci-fi aliens we all know, the Greys. They're led by a commander named Sirius, and let me tell you, they are not here to make friends. Their home planet is dying, and after searching for thousands of years, they've picked Earth as their new home.
And their plan, it's just terrifyingly brilliant and patient. They aren't launching some big, flashy invasion. No, they're terraforming. They've been secretly building these huge underground hives and, get this, subtly pushing humanity to raise CO2 levels for them. They're literally making us prep our own planet for their arrival.
I mean, this quote from the alien leadership is just so chilling. It shows you just how close they are. The final signal is the only thing left. It just ramps up the stakes to a crazy level and starts this ticking clock for Tom, Dharma, and Ted. They have to find a way to stop what seems completely inevitable.
So, what do you do when you're faced with an impossible threat like that? A secret invasion that's been in the works for decades? Well, our little group of heroes decides they have no choice. They have to fight back, even when the rest of the world doesn't even know there's a war going on.
And their plan is it's wild. It's so audacious. They decide to use that crashed saucer Tom found to hijack a secret Pentagon satellite launch, this thing called Telos. Basically, they're going to turn the aliens' own tech and our own weapons against them. It's a total long shot.
And in the end, this whole desperate plan, it all comes down to one person, Ted Irving, the secret astronaut from all those years ago. He has to get in that alien ship and fly it on what is pretty much a one-way trip. It's the ultimate heroic sacrifice, all to give the human race just one last fighting chance.
Okay, so we've gone from mysterious things buried in the desert all the way to dogfights in deep space. That was a ride. Now let's take a step back and talk about what we really think of Man in the Moon. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? I think the core message of Man in the Moon is pretty powerful. It's that the official story is almost never the whole story. And sometimes, for the real truth to come out, it takes an ordinary person making an absolutely extraordinary sacrifice.
Okay, so what's our feedback? Well, on the plus side, this book is a total rocket ride. It's nonstop, packed with action, and filled with all those classic sci-fi conspiracy bits that we just love. But, on the other hand, the characters can feel a little thin, and that kind of takes away from the emotional punch of their big moments. The dialogue is definitely pulpy, and you kind of have to accept that the plot moves along because of a few, let's call them very convenient coincidences. So, with all that in mind, we're giving Man in the Moon a final score of 6 out of 10. Look, it's a really solid and fun adventure. If you're just looking for a fast-paced, old-school alien conspiracy story to burn through, this will absolutely hit the spot. So, if this whole vibe, the secret missions, the alien threat, the ticking clock, if that's your jam, we've got a couple of other fantastic books we think you're really gonna dig. First up, if you want another story about a hero on a super high-stakes mission, trying to solve an impossible problem to save humanity from something out there in space, you have got to read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's just phenomenal. And hey, if you love that blend of hard science, government cover-ups, and that whole first contact goes terribly wrong idea, then you really can't go wrong with the OG, the absolute classic that basically invented the genre, Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain. And there you have it. That's our deep dive into Man in the Moon. Hey, if you had fun with this breakdown, it would be awesome if you'd follow, share, and subscribe. That way you won't miss our next explainer.
So we'll leave you with one last thing to think about, something inspired by the impossible choices in this book. If you, just you, found a secret that could save the entire world, but you knew it would put everyone you love in danger, what would you do? Something to chew on. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you on the next one.